It's Friday again, and that means Questions with Father Luke. I'm Father Luke of Covenant Anglican Church in San Marcos, Texas, and today's question is, can Christians lose their salvation? Well, the Bible tells the story of a holy, powerful creator who makes this world of wonder, and it's brimming with life and with beauty. And the pinnacle of his creation are these human beings, people who are fashioned in his image and who are called then into his work of cultivating and developing God's good creation. But Genesis chapter 3 shows this wicked entity into the picture. We later he's described as the Satan. Here, who we know as a fallen angel, rebellious fallen angel. But there in Genesis 3, we just know he's a conniving serpent, and he lies and deceives, lies to and deceives these humans into joining his rebellion of disobedience. And when this happens, the shalom of God's good world is shattered. And since then, since Genesis 3 onward, the corruption and the sin we see has infected and affected all aspects of the created world. And it creates not only brokenness between relationships with humans and other humans, or humans and the non-human creation, or humans within ourselves, but also between humans and their creator. There's this intimate enmity between humans and God now. And this sin and corruption, we need to understand, is continued rebellion. It's a continued offense against God and his holiness, and his holiness demands justice. And so when Christians talk about being saved, we mean at least two things. First, we're saying that we are saved from God's righteous judgment, right? His anger against all wickedness, sin, and corruption. And secondly, we're saying that we are saved from the powers of that sin and corruption itself. So according to the Bible, we cannot do anything to save ourselves. We can't undo our sinfulness, right? It is something that we are by nature, that just comes to us naturally. And so we can't undo our sinfulness. We can't stop being sinful, nor can we be good enough to make ourselves right with God. But God, the Bible tells us, has acted on our behalf. He has sent Jesus into the world to seek and to save the lost. And so Jesus lived a holy and righteous life that was pleasing to God. And Jesus' death on the cross, the righteous for the unrighteous, was substitutionary. That means he died in our place that we might live, that we might be made new in Jesus. Anglicans affirm that salvation is entirely the work of God's grace, received by faith in Jesus Christ. And God promises that those who truly belong to Christ are secure in him. Jesus tells his followers in John 10:10 that he says, I give you eternal life, and that whoever believes in me shall never perish, and no one will be able to snatch them out of my hand. So Christians then can be confident in our salvation. At the same time, the scriptures do warn us about falling away. Hebrews 6, Hebrews 10, 2 Peter chapter 2 speak of people who have shared the life of the church and yet have turned away. Now, the theological term for this is apostasy. And these are sobering passages that suggest that it is possible to make a real profession of faith and experience the blessings of the church, and yet ultimately be a person that rejects Christ. The parable of the sower in Matthew 13, for example, describes someone who receives the word with joy, but ultimately falls away. It dries up within them due to trials or to the cares of the world. Now, if we're honest, there's a tension here, right? Jesus says, no one can snatch you out of my hand. And yet there are these passages that we wrestle with. And different Christians handle these, even within Anglicanism, find different ways of handling this tension. But I think that the Anglican tradition affirms both that God preserves his people and that true faith endures to the end. And yet it also affirms human responsibility to continue in the faith. We don't use our baptism then as a license to sin. We don't say, oh, I'm once saved, always saved kind of thing. Nevertheless, we can be confident and are confident in the work and the love of Jesus. He saves, and he saves us fully. So if you have questions or thoughts about the assurance of salvation, you can share them in the comment section below, or better yet, come and visit us on Sunday and let's talk about this in the context of community. But let's connect.